Hi there, Vanessa Machin Perez here, the military transition maven. Today in this video learning lesson, we're going to do a bit of a review of Laura Noel's profile. Laura's kindly let us use her profile and the establishment of it as lessons to share with other veterans in transition to get their brand identity and their online reputation moving forward for, transition and business success. So thanks, Laura. So in a previous lesson, we saw Laura's profile. It was pretty much empty. There was not a lot of content on it. And I wanted to come back today and show you how Laura looks now and how I believe that all military personnel should be representing their expertise and a way for you to be able to share your authentic career story in a way that's very impressive. It doesn't matter if you're junior enlisted or a general. I think you need to be presented this way. So you'll notice that Laura invested in some wonderful professional headshots, and they'll always be worth the investment to help brand you towards what you're branding and marketing yourself for. So Laura's still active duty. She's not out yet, but she's very entrepreneurial. She started her own coaching business and some other entrepreneurial ventures. I'm so proud of her. Look at how we're using this background banner space to actually shape her brand identity and help her represent her business in a really phenomenal way. Her veteran-free premium upgrades in now, so you'll notice that with the gold LinkedIn icon in the top left-hand corner. If you don't have your veteran-free premium upgrade from LinkedIn, you need to get it. It's valuable, it's beneficial. It is pretty much valued at probably close to $800 worth of value now. That it includes the Linda Online Learning Center up here to get access to literally thousands of online courses produced by LinkedIn. You also get access to slide share salary data for jobs that you're applying for. And this little icon here is for ProFinder, which is essentially a freelance marketplace on LinkedIn that allows you to, establish your freelance, your consulting brand and do business that way. You'll notice under Laura's name now in the professional headline, I've got her expertise defined using what I call value tags, which are the most valuable words that define your expertise and help you get found for that ahead of millions. It's another lesson to talk about value tags and what I call strategic optimization. This allows you to get found for your expertise, which is so important. Just take the time now to look at just how beautifully Laura's content is presented. You have 2,000 characters in each field on LinkedIn, whether it's the summary or a job, what I call a job block field, in which to present your career story, right? I structure it in a way that allows what I call bite-sized bits of information. See, we don't read when we're looking at resumes and portfolios and stuff. We skim. So it's important to create content that's skimmable. We can look very quickly and get an idea of what it is that you want to share with us. I use symbols as a visual appealing way to add wow factor, and they're sexy. It just adds nice visual appeal. It structures the content, adds bullets and stuff. Another lesson, I'll show you how to find the symbols and where to put them in. But you'll see that it really is it's pleasing to the eye to see content that's structured like this and allows us to skim. I want to draw your attention to this area here. I tend to call a management portfolio. If you see really fantastic portfolios on LinkedIn structured like this, they've got my mark all over them. It's one of the unique things that I do on resumes and in LinkedIn is to really help somebody get an essence of your management capability, just by sharing your numbers of the amount of personnel that you've managed, the value of the budgets that you've managed, the value of the assets that you've managed in the military. And let me guarantee you that they're often higher than any civilian that you're competing against in the civilian workplace. So don't overlook the importance of really thinking about it. I know a lot of junior enlisted say, oh, I've never really managed, had financial delegation or had financial responsibility or managed stuff. And I say, well, you just haven't really thought about it in this way. Think about what was the value of the defence travel card that you had, even as junior enlisted, it probably has about $3,000 on it. That's a financial delegation. That's financial authority, right? You have to spend within that budget, and you have to account for every cent that's been spent through, receipts. You have to reconcile it. So that's a financial delegation. That's the government entrusting you with a budget that you need to stick within the budget and then account for the expenditure. If you think about asset management, every person in the military is issued equipment, right? It all has a dollar value. Your flak jacket, your rifle, your helmet, your uniforms, your backpack, your boots, they all have a dollar value. And, even as junior enlisted, you add up the value of your personal kit that you're issued, and it's probably pushing $80,000 or $90,000. You add NVGs to that, night vision goggles, they're pretty expensive. And let me tell you, you lose one of those, you'll know who's responsible for it. So you are responsible for assets. So start thinking about those things, the value of the things that you're responsible for. If you're a sergeant, you manage a fleet of 10 vehicles valued at $800,000 each. We're talking about a significant management portfolio, resource management portfolio. So don't overlook the importance of including this information. I like to use up some space just by putting in expertise and just reaffirming these valuable words, these keywords I call value tags that define your expertise. So think about, what are the words headhunters and recruiters are going to use to find you? And then when you know what those words are, I want you to start weaving them throughout the content. And you'll see I've done it here under the under the title of expertise. I also include them up here with some symbols, which is another way of really refining that expertise. Let's point out this, something important. In your summary, remember, this is your pitch. This is where you get to pitch who you are and what your background is and what you have to offer, and the things that you want to move towards now with your next goals. So share some of that information with people who are viewing your profile. And I always like to include a phone number and email, like how can somebody get in contact with you quite quickly? In the headhunting space, until we're connected with you, we won't see your phone number and your email. So including it in your content, if we have access to that, if you're second level, then we'll be able to pick up a phone and call you and say, hey, this great opportunity on my plate and it really fits your expertise. Do you want to talk about it? Allow people to be able to get in contact with you quickly. I always talk about validating your authentic career story. It's authentic once it's validated, right? So some of the ways that you can do that are including things like video, imagery, sharing content. Like once you start sharing your knowledge and wisdom and your insight through publishing, through sharing information, commenting on it, engaging, they're all ways to authenticate you as a subject matter expert or an industry thought leader, right? And using the wonderful features, LinkedIn allows you to use multimedia like imagery and videos and samples of your work and recommendations and endorsements, and all of these things validate your expertise, right? Linking to websites, for instance. Here are some great videos. Laura performed around the world with the Air Force Band. She was a band leader. She was a vocalist. And while we didn't have a lot of readily available imagery and video of her singing, these images here, these videos, help us understand that, I tell you what, entertainers in the Air Force and the military in the band setting are phenomenal, hands down phenomenal entertainers, and I would go to any of these concerts anytime. So you don't always have to be in the videos or in the images for them to help tell your career story or authenticate it, right? If you've worked on a submarine, show us what it's like inside a submarine. If you fly a jet, have some photos or some video of you outside that jet or inside the cockpit or doing your checks before you fly. If you maintain vehicles, show us what these vehicles are, how big they are. Like 7-ton vehicles are huge, and to see, petite women climbing out of these trucks because they drive them is very impressive. So show us what you do. And you can't get a better way of being able to present your entire career portfolio in this way. Once you start thinking about your career portfolio, you're starting to move away. I want you to shift this mindset that LinkedIn is an online resume. This is a portfolio. Once you start doing all of these things, you have the ability to include courses that you've completed. You have the ability to talk about projects that you've worked on. And I know in the military space, we're all working on projects all of the time. So share more insight with us about those things, because they give us so much more depth to who you are. You have the ability to include languages there. And, if you spent 20 years in the military, I think it's fair to say that you speak military jargon, which is an asset for companies who have a military hiring initiative. You can include your awards and commendations and your honours. You can include information on organisations that you support, charities and funds that you support. I bet now you can start to see, ways of being able to incorporate what you've done throughout your career and presenting it in a way that's appealing, makes people want to stay here and enjoy this learning more about you and what you have to offer. And when you use some of these tips and techniques and strategies, they will make a difference to how you're branding and marketing yourself in what I like to call the global career marketplace. Stay tuned, subscribe to my YouTube channel, tune in to more of our online video lessons, and be sure to share them with your friends and your family so that they can improve how they're representing themselves online and how they're telling their authentic career story. Aloha and good luck with your transition. Bye for now.